Hey guys, here to do a video on some recent VHS pickups. It's been a little bit of a while since I've done one of these longer format videos, and I kind of took a break on collecting VHS tapes for a little bit. I was rearranging everything in my room. I did my Nick shelf, and then I did this VHS shelf over here, and I'm still working on rearranging some things around in my office here. So I kind of paused on the VHS tapes. I got everything reorganized and kind of categorized, and I really liked how everything fit, so I didn't want to add anything to the collection. That being said, I kind of got the itch again, so I figured, why not do a video on some of the recent tapes that I am adding to my collection? I think there's some pretty cool things in here, so might make it for an interesting video. I guess I'll start with what I got today. I actually just got back from the thrift store. Now, the local thrift store by me had raised their VHS prices up to like $25, $30 a tape. So I was kind of boycotting them. I was really annoyed at that. You know, these places, they fall for the Black Diamond Disney myth. You know, maybe some people are out there paying that much for, you know, Disney tapes, $30 or so. But, you know, I don't think most people are doing that. I'm certainly not, and I think a lot of other people aren't as well. So they had like all their Disney stuff, like $25, $30. They raised all of their just regular slipcover VHS tapes. So I was like, okay, I'm done. And that kind of helped me transition away from collecting for a little bit. But we just stopped there on our way home and saw that they dropped their prices back down. Not quite all the way down to what they were, but down to the point where, you know, I could justify buying it. I think slipcovers were $2 and clamshells were $4, but they were doing a sale, so it was like 50 and 75% off on select tapes. So this is what I got, some cool things. Starting off with Mighty Mouse, Minority Report. I collect movie games, and I like to have the accompanying movie for the game. Now I have the PS2 Minority Report game. I didn't have the tape, so had to pick this up so I can complete that section of my collection. Scooby-Doo classic. I used to any Scooby-Doo tape that I see, I would pick it up, add it to my collection, and I tried to transition out of that because I was just getting so much Scooby-Doo tapes. Over here, I have the majority of my clamshells, and big Scooby-Doo fan when I was a kid. That whole revival in the 90s kicked off with Zombie Island, and then what is it, The Witch's Ghost, and they were re-releasing things like the Boo Brothers and the Reluctant Werewolf. So I was already a Scooby-Doo fan, and then we got hit with all that new media and new or re-releases of the older shows and movies. So totally have a lot of nostalgia for Scooby-Doo. The Little Mermaid TV show. I think I might have, I know I definitely have one in my collection already. I'm not sure if I have this one, but I saw it there, figured I'll pick it up. If I do have it, then I'll just pass it on to someone else. They had a stack of Rocky and Bullwinkle VHS tapes, volume 1 through 6. So someone, must have loved Rocky and Bullwinkle, and ended up donating their collection to the thrift store. But Rocky and Bullwinkle, that was another thing where it was an older show, but it had a little bit of a marketing push back in the 90s. The Rocky and Bullwinkle live action movie came out with Robert De Niro in it. It's so funny because I recently had bought the VHS tape of the movie. It's not a great movie, but I just have a lot of nostalgia for it. And coincidentally, in the 90s, where we lived, we got a Bullwinkle's location. So, other than me watching the show when I was a kid, and then having some nostalgia for the movie, we also had a Bullwinkle's location open up. And my sister had worked there at one point. I have a lot of memories going there as a kid with friends, birthday parties. It was a pretty big deal. I remember like a Christmas parade, they were promoting it. So really used to be a fun place. These were some older thrift store pickups. Commando. I mean, you can't go wrong adding a Schwarzenegger movie to your collection. Blast from the Past. I've been on a little bit of a Brendan Fraser kick lately. I just watched Encino Man, and huge Mummy fan. I think I've talked about that in length before. But me and my wife have been going back and watching some of his movies. It's been a lot of fun. Erin Brockovich. It's a movie my wife likes. Beverly Hills Cop 2. This promotional video for the paintball company Brass Eagle. I don't know if they're even still around, but my first paintball gun was a Brass Eagle branded paintball gun. They were like, I think it was either like the Kmart or Walmart brand. You would often see them there. And so I had one of their guns, and then eventually I got like a Tippmann 98 Custom, and my friends all ended up, I think it was like Evos or Halos, the automatic guns, and all got the self-feeding hopper and things like that. They got really into it, where we went from playing just paintball in the woods to going to actual paintball arenas. And they all progressed further with it, and got old gear that totally outmatched me. But I have some nostalgia for that. And so I saw that, and I thought that'd be cool to have for my collection. It's pretty unique. It looks like a promotional video for Universal Studios. Really cool. I mean, a lot of this stuff, the Kong confrontation is no longer there. Some Rocky and Bullwinkle stuff on here too, and Jaws is gone. The Ghostbuster show, I don't even think they still do that anymore. I'm not sure. I think E.T.'s still there. Back to the Future is gone. I mean, the Universal Studios in the 90s was so cool. I was a huge fan. I was lucky enough to have gone a few times with my family. I know where most people are, Disney-oriented families. My parents were super into Universal, so we got to go a few times when we were younger. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I have the sequel, and I've been wanting to pick this one up for a while, and I just never came across it, and then I saw it at the store, so I had to get it. Back to the Scooby-Doo, how I was saying I'm trying to limit myself. I never saw this movie, Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster, I think it's called. This must be a later release. Yeah, 2003. And it's sealed, which is kind of cool, but I'm definitely going to have to cut this open so I can actually watch it. Moving on, there's a couple of tapes that I kind of sought after. So I got these in as a lot because I was looking for this specific Ninja Turtles High C tape. I'm assuming this is some kind of promotional tie-in with High C and Ninja Turtles. I really like marketing things like that. I got the Kool-Aid promotional VHS tape. I did a video on that before. And that was honestly a bit disappointing. But, you're never disappointed with the Turtles. So excited to check this out. It came with 2 other tapes. Biker Mice from Mars, Chill Zone. which I'm becoming a big fan of the Biker Mice series. I got the PS2 game, I was playing it. I was pleasantly surprised at how much fun I was having with it. And, just watching the show and going back, it's a lot better than what I thought it would be, considering it's, often regarded as just the Ninja Turtles, rip-off show. Captain Planet and the Planeteers. So, a couple other things I sought out for. Double Dragon. I wanted to have the cartoon series in my collection. I have the live-action movie. I wanted to get this. Not another teen movie. We just watched this more recently. It's such a fun movie. There's a lot of movies from that time period that don't hold up. I think you think of maybe Date movie that some people love it. I think that movie was not the best. but Not Another Teen Movie is actually really funny. I picked this up because I did a video on it was when TV got small. I went through and reviewed the what was it? Tiny Toons, Tom and Jerry Kids, the Flintstone Kids, Flintstones. There are all the spin-off shows where it was taking beloved IPs and just reimagining them as kid. Pup Named Scooby-Doo was in there. So went through, watched all those, and kind of ranked them as far as what I thought was the best, what was the worst. And that was really fun. And a few people pointed out to me that there was Baby Looney Tunes. And the reason why I didn't add that in the initial run was because that era of repackaging these shows and just imagining them as babies or as kids, that really started in the 80s with Muppet Babies, and then ended in the early 90s. And Baby Looney Tunes didn't come out until the 2000s, I believe. So this is another lot of tapes that I had got in. Harry and the Hendersons, another Brandon Fraser movie. Dudley Do-Right. This movie was so bad. I think even back then, I knew it was bad. I remember going back and watching it as a teenager, and I was like, God, this movie is really bad. The line that sticks out in my head always is, that's when Dudley realized that in order to do good, he must do bad, or something like that.
Me steal? Me break the law? Sadly, yeah. But then I'd be Dudley Do Wrong.
Let's turn this off. This movie is ridiculous. 28 Days Later. Cool movie. This was, looks like a Blockbuster movie. You got the blue tape, so it's really cool. That'll go into my horror collection. Halloween 4, which I don't think I have ever seen this one. I went through and I was watching all the Halloween tapes this past year. Well, not all of them I watched the first one again, watched the second one, started watching the third one, Season of the Witch, and I couldn't get through it. There's that one scene when they're in the hotel and it seems like just a gratuitous sex scene. It wasn't needed at all. And I don't know, the movie just didn't connect with me. And I know it seemed like this past year there was kind of like a revival for that movie online. Because I think it was universally panned for a while, and now there kind of seems to be like some growing affection for it. Godzilla vs. Megalodon. It's funny, back when Godzilla 98 came out, it kind of got me into the original Godzilla movies. I would go to the movie store and rent them. I got a couple Godzilla action figures. I had the Godzilla Force figure. They look like little Power Rangers. A lot of people will say that Godzilla 98 is a bad movie. As a kid in the 90s, I thought it was fantastic, and I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And, you know, for better or worse, I think it got a lot of people my age into the older Godzilla stuff. So I have to give it credit for that. Labyrinth, you know, Bowie, weird, weird Jim Henson Muppet creatures, and it's, you know, a fun movie. Outsiders, Police Academy 6, Uncle Buck, The Hunt for Red October. I have this SNES game, and like I said, always have to have the accompanying movie for the games I have. So, October Sky. I remember watching this in tech class back in high school, and we were building rockets at the time, and you know, it's movies about rockets, so I haven't seen it since then, and I want to go back and revisit it. Taxi Driver, and then Dark City. I've never seen this movie. It looks kind of interesting, so I figured I'll pick it up, check it out, and have some fun with it. One more box. I forgot about it. Hold on. So this is a box of tapes that I got from Ruby Deals on eBay. They do like the buy two get one free, and I always like going and checking out their tapes every so often. I say it's kind of like therapy, or like you know, my antidepressant. Just go pick out some tapes, and if you get like, I think a decent amount, it seems like they always throw in a free VHS tape, so that's always really cool. It's always really fun to see what they end up putting in. NASCAR Racers. Now, I didn't watch this show a ton as a kid, but I remember when it came out. I remember kind of being excited for it. I remember there was the Wendy's promotion at the time, and the toys themselves just looked really cool. And I wanted to check it out. I remember watching it, and I was into NASCAR as a kid anyway. It's kind of, you know, a dying sport now in terms of viewers, but back in the day, I mean, the Daytona 500 was as big as, you know, the Super Bowl. I remember going to tons of Daytona 500 parties as a kid, and now I don't really hear about anyone doing stuff like that anymore. I'm sure down south it's probably more common, but up here in New York for me, it's not as big as it once was. So I remember when NASCAR Racers came out, I checked it out, and as someone who already liked racing, whose family was into racing, my dad was in a race league. We would go race at local tracks and kind of go to anywhere from Watkins Glen to Summit in West Virginia, Poconos, Lime Rock, you know, all those eastern racetracks, Bridgehampton when we were still there. So I had the racing background, and coming into this show, the whole futuristic aspect, it didn't really click with me. And I think, you know, NASCAR wanted to get younger kids into NASCAR, and I think ironically the kids that did like NASCAR, at least for me, it didn't click with it being these futuristic cars that did these like fantastical things with flying and jetpacks and all this stuff. And on the other side of it, I think people that, or kids that did watch the show and then go to watch an actual NASCAR race, were disappointed when they saw that the cars weren't doing all these acrobatic flips and things like that. The Simpsons, I don't think I had any Simpsons tapes in my collection yet, so had to get something for the collection. Such a big show, it has to be represented. The Faculty, awesome 90s movie, I love it. Huge Josh Hartnett fan. You know, Elijah Wood is in it, Usher, you know, a really interesting cast of characters. Oh yeah, I forgot Jon Stewart is in it as well. I think now with all us 90s kids getting older, I think these movies are kind of becoming more popular. Beavis and Butthead, another show that wasn't in my collection yet. You know, Beavis and Butthead is one of those shows where my parents absolutely forbid us from watching it. So it was one of those things where I would stay up late at night and try to sneak it on. And, you know, it'd be like watching it in the living room with like the volume turned all the way down, like sitting in front of the TV. And then like you hear your parents' door open and you like quickly turn it off and then go run. Rugrats, Make Room for Dill. I wanted to add some more Rugrat tapes to my collection now that I have more room with my Nickelodeon shelf. I originally had a lot more Rugrat tapes, and then I was like, how many do you really need? So I started giving them away, and now that I have room, I kind of want to start collecting more Nickelodeon stuff again. So I don't have some of these like later Rugrat tapes from what would you say, like late 90s into the 2000s. So I figured why not add that. Transformers Beast Wars. People have been asking me to do a Transformers collection, like show what I have. So I have to do that at some point. I only have a few tapes, but I'll make a video of that for you guys. Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. I've never seen this movie. I, saw the original when it came out. Loved that movie, but never ended up checking out the sequel. So had to get it. I'll watch it on VHS, and it'll be a fun experience, I think. A promotional Nintendo 64 tape. And then this was the free tape that they threw in. Sinbad, which pretty interesting. I kind of remember when this came out, but I don't think I ever have seen it. So interesting. Brad Pitt, Michelle Pfeiffer, interesting a set of cast. I'll have to pop this on and check it out. That's everything. This went a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I think there's some interesting stuff in there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing what I brought in as well. And that's all I got. So thanks, guys.